The Optibike Argon is a super lightweight road e-bike that is as simple to operate as its streamlined design. It is a bit on the pricier side, but is it worth the money? Well, that's what we're exploring today, so let's get into it. Optibike offers a competitive 2-year warranty on the battery and a 5-year warranty on the frame, and you can check out their entire warranty on their warranty info page. Now, Optibike operates as mainly a direct-to-consumer brand, and if you're interested in what you can expect when your Argon arrives, you can check out the Argon assembly video. We've got a link to that on the written review. Also, just above the written review, we've got all of the specs, so if you're interested in diving into some of those in more detail, you can head over to electrifiedreviews.com and check out all of the features on the Argon. The Argon has a pretty unique look to it. Optibike definitely wants to keep this thing minimalist and light, and you can see that with the carbon front fork, single-speed belt drive, minimalist display, torque sensor, and thinner road tires. Despite not having any traditional suspension, the carbon forks and the 1.5-inch tires did a great job of dampening a lot of the typical road vibrations you'd experience on a similarly spec'd e-bike. The Argon offers a slightly more forward-feeling riding position, but nothing too aggressive. If you're used to road bikes or some gravel bikes, then you'd probably say it's an upright ride. However, for us over here, we tend to review cruisers and other consumer-level e-bikes that offer a virtually straight-up riding experience, so I would say it's a bit more forward. Still comfortable, and nothing that requires you to hit up a chiropractor after a few 20-mile rides. The medium-large frame should fit riders between 5'7" and 6 foot. When you see a company give such a narrow range in rider height, that's usually a good sign that it'll be accurate. At 5'10", I would agree with the stated rider heights from Optibike, and from a consumer perspective, when you see accurate information online from the brand, it's usually a good sign that more of the information will also be accurate. The Argon doesn't come stock with rack or fenders, so it doesn't quite fit the mold as a commuter, but this is a bike that would be great for someone looking to do some pedaling around town or even a great exercise bike. If you did throw a rack and fenders on here, which you could easily do, then we'd have a decent commuter on our hands. The battery isn't removable here, but it only weighs 37 pounds, so if you wanted to carry it up a flight of stairs, again, you could avoid the chiropractor. Although I would feel fairly confident taking this on some tight-packed gravel roads, I would try to stick to pavement and bike trails on this one. Even though the carbon components do a good job of dampening the cracks and such, I still wouldn't want to push it by taking it off-road. You could probably get away with V-brakes on the Argon just because it's so light, but Optibike opted for Shimano hydraulic brakes, and we thank them for that. I don't know if I've experienced the amount of control you get with high-quality hydraulic brakes paired with this lightweight frame. The 160mm rotors stop this bike in a hurry, and as far as safety features go, these brakes shine pretty brightly. What doesn't shine as bright is the front light. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a standard e-bike front light, but with other high quality components presented here, it feels like we should be seeing a slightly brighter light. It's bright enough to get safety points from a being seen perspective, but I would recommend a brighter light if you plan on doing much nighttime riding, especially at the top speed of 20 miles per hour. We don't get locking grips, but that being said, they didn't move or shift any during any of our testing. The throttle isn't incredibly torquey, which is to be expected given the demographics here. We do get a small bell, which can help us communicate with other riders, so that's a nice little bonus to throw into the safety section. Now, you know how I feel about Class 2 e-bikes, so with that in mind, let's chat about the power and performance. It goes 20 miles per hour, which for some of you may be your legal limit or your personal speed limit. My personal speed limit is a bit higher, but if 20 miles per hour is what you're looking for, you can achieve that with the throttle or the torque sensor pedal assist. The rear hub motor sits at 500 nominal watts, which is a good power output for an e-bike like this. It provides enough power and torque for the type of riding you would most likely be doing while not sucking more juice than needed, which you may experience with a higher powered motor. The battery has about 518 watt hours, which should provide anywhere between 30 to 50 miles. Now, you gotta be a bit on the lighter side and do a heavy amount of pedaling if you want to achieve the top range of 50 miles, but I think the average rider doing average rider type things, 30 miles is a solid expectation on the range. Overall, the Argon is such a lightweight e-bike that some of the complaints just don't matter if a lightweight e-bike is what you're after. The experience is fun, it's simple, and it comes across with a very high quality feel. It is a bit on the pricier side at just north of $2,700, but it is difficult to compare it against other bikes to see if it's worth the money. So, what do you think? Is it worth the money? What I do think is that we should do some riding, so let's do that on the ride test. Alright guys, we are out here for the ride test for the Argon from Optibike. As we mentioned a couple times, it's just a very sleek, simple designed bike. Very nice sort of minimalistic cockpit up here. We have got our carbon belt down here. And all in all, it's just a very nice, tight, compact unit. And let's go ahead and hop on and give her a ride. Give her a ride. Pull out my verification GPS over here. But can't see my password, okay. It's actually the second time I did it, because the first time I just had my password on there. I was like, I don't feel like editing that one. I'll just redo it. Now, this is a bike that has a pretty forward design. So if the shot that you guys are looking right there doesn't look amazing, I do apologize. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to get those forward position bikes in a nice spot. You don't get to see the cockpit necessarily, or you're just looking at the cockpit in the ground. But we'll see how she handles. So we got it in pedal assist level 5. Now, as far as the motor responsiveness goes, it is pretty responsive. We've also got a throttle on this side. And one thing that I noticed about the throttle is that it's not super torquey like a lot of the other, throttles that we see. So if we go ahead and stop here using those hydraulic brakes, a little bell just to let us know that we've come to a full stop, and we'll go ahead and just hit the throttle on this side. Not tuned specifically, to get anywhere super quick. I mean, it is going to take us up to, sort of that 20 miles per hour, but it just does get you there a little bit slower. And if you look at this bike and who it's designed for, it's not really designed for somebody who wants to throttle around and have that sort of, e-moped experience. This is something that's sleek. It's designed for pedaling. When you look at a lot of the other Optibikes, they have a lot of like e-mountain bikes. And, again, those are bikes that you pedal. That's the experience that you want to have when you're out there on the mountain, or rather, that's the experience you want to have when you're going up the mountain. Go ahead and pop over here. And as far as the gearing goes, right about that 20 miles per hour, it's a pretty good gearing. I'd say very average cadence for going this fast. And yeah, we're just cruising. Now, as far as nimbleness goes, this thing is very nimble. You can just kind of, cut in, cut out with those smaller tires, and the fact that we have not a super aggressive head tube angle. It just lends itself to being very, pick your spot, get your spot, that sort of thing. Let's go ahead and put it into pedal assist level 1. We'll come to a stop right here. Yeah, those hydraulic brakes are nice. I mean, this is a lighter bike, and it's only going 20 miles per hour, so the fact that you kind of have a light bike, 20 miles per hour, and still have the hydraulic brakes is super cool, because you can really stop on a dime. And like I like to say, leave 9 cents change, which it still doesn't make sense. I'm trying to figure that one out because I think it's a fun little catchphrase, but if somebody asks me what it means, I don't know. So we're in pedal assist level 1. Let's go ahead and pedal around like this. Actually, let's go ahead and put it in pedal assist level nada, and let's just see how hard this thing is to pedal. Not super bad, actually. I feel like they've got the gearing kind of best of both worlds. Not super hard to start, and then once you get going, to that 20 miles per hour, it's not a bad cadence. And the nice thing is, we've got our extra GPS on here, but the unit's also going to show us, the unit's also going to show us how fast we're going, even if the pedal assist is off, which is nice. But this is a hill. I've got more ride tests to do, so let's just get up it, okay? Let's just get up it. Yeah, not really putting too much effort in there. The motor's doing most of that. Go ahead and stop. And let's see what it looks like in pedal assist level 1. So 1 kind of wants us there about 7 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and go to 2. About 10 or 11, 3. Get some more of the motor here. And honestly, this motor is
super quiet. Into like 17, 18, so 4. Still getting us up to about the top speed. Now some of these bikes, the way that they're geared, you can kind of hit top speed in like about 3 to 5, and it just depends on sort of the power curve as you get there. So right now it's on 5, and definitely feels a little bit more responsive. I'm definitely getting some more motor as I'm doing that. But honestly, the motor is whisper quiet. I know a lot of times, just the way the mic's facing, it's hard to sort of hear the motor noise as much. But yeah, whisper quiet. We were on the 10 ways a while back, and that one was super quiet. But this one, I must be on par with that, because literally I cannot. I mean, I have to like put my head kind of tilted down and kind of, go like that to hear anything. If I'm actually just riding around, you really don't hear it. That is pretty cool. So yeah, this thing is very easy to just get on, cruise around on. If you don't want to, you can hit that throttle and just sustain that top speed there. Nice, easy controlled stop there. Go ahead and test out the brakes going down this hill here. Yeah, that's too easy. I don't want to do that puddle. So let's go over here. And again, we're holding down the throttle on this side. And yeah, it's getting us there. It's getting us there to that top speed. It's just, we're not flying while we're doing it. Oh, this is nice. What a beautiful day to be out riding some bikes. Go ahead and do some pedaling here. Yeah, we are just cruising. So this is sort of the terrain where you'd want to take the bike. We're on this bike path here. It's well paved, asphalt-ish kind of stuff. I think it's asphalt. And yeah, this or city streets, things like that. And other places you take a road bike that has more like traditionally sized road bike tires, no suspension. It's kind of meant for scooting around in an urban environment, or obviously, I'm kind of going through the woods, but I'm on this, well-paved bike path here. That's another good spot for a bike like this. Yeah, because we can just cruise all day like this. Go ahead and test out those brakes one more time. Oh, too easy. Too easy. Now the grips here, probably have already talked about that, but the grips don't have a locking point, but they're on there very, very snug. And I really like the grip pattern here. So you've got a spot for your, I guess your thumb, the inside of your thumb, and then, oh God, there's some mosquitoes here. Let's talk about the grips, but let's keep moving, shall we? Because I'll do anything for an e-bike review except for standing around talking about grips, getting eaten by mosquitoes. Yeah, so the grips here, there's no locking mechanism, but I really like the grip pattern. They don't move at all, so that's nice because that's a very secure kind of spot to be. And yeah, no real complaints about them. I think one of the things, if we're thinking about the aesthetic and kind of who this bike is for, the saddle might not make that much sense to me. I kind of expected to get a saddle that was a little bit more, well, honestly, to get something that was a little bit less comfortable than this saddle, because this is sort of like a standard saddle, as far as like a comfort level and size goes. And you see a lot of those, road bikes or other bikes that are meant for that same sort of environment have more of a aerodynamic or, just kind of like a thinner, stealthier type seat. And this one is a little bit, it's more of a normal size. So that's something that was interesting to me, because when you look at the bike, you're kind of like, okay, this is sleek, this is a road bike, and then yeah, it's just kind of like a regular bike saddle. I mean, it's a little bit, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit thinner than normal, but I was kind of expecting something a little bit thinner. However, I mean, I like this better because this is more comfortable for me. Fits my sit bones pretty good, and that's how you know if a saddle works for you or not. There's a lot of people like, oh, this saddle sucks, and this saddle's great, and this saddle's, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's really about, you know, where are your sit bones and how does the saddle support your butt, you know? Somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's not about like, oh, this saddle's great, or this Cloud9, or this Velo, or this whatever. Guys, you got to put your butts on the saddles and test them out. It's really the only way to know if it's going to work for you or not. Anyways, just things that you things that you think about when you've been reviewing bikes for however many years I've been reviewing bikes for. You got to test the saddles out, folks. It's like we recommend you test out bikes if you can. You know, there are some bike manufacturers who, you know, they only do direct to consumer, and they don't really have a lot of things in place with, you know, either like local shops or sort of like a test network. I've seen some people do that. And so in that case, you know, you're getting a better price, but you're not getting to test the bike, which sometimes is fine if they got a good return policy. Hey, there you go. But if you are, you know, considering purchasing a bike, and for a lot of people, you know, this is, you know, that's a month's rent, depending on where you're at. You know, some of you people in, you know, California or New York, like, a month's rent, that'll get me a week. But, yeah, so when you're spending that kind of money, you know, do your due diligence, watch reviews, read testimonials. If you know somebody that has one, see if you can pop over and test ride that. That would be, that'd be sort of like the best practices there. And if you're not sure, you can't find any of those things, you can always head on over to electrifiedreviews.com. Check us out. We'll tell you what's up with the bike. We'll get you these sort of ride tests if we've reviewed it. If we haven't reviewed it, you know, we'll have some reviews over there that we maybe haven't done, but they're like cool bikes people are excited about, so we can kind of give our, you know, 2 cents on it, see if we can source some good review videos for you guys to watch as well. But guys, I think that is going to do it for our review. If you guys want to know more, you can check us out over at electrifiedreviews.com. Thanks for riding with us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
And that is going to do it for our review of the Argon from Optibike. If you want to know more about them, we'll have a link to them somewhere down below, or you can head over to electrifiedreviews.com, check out the full written review, check out the full specs. We've got some extra pictures over there, and we'll have a link to Optibike's website as well. Thanks for riding with us and supporting what we're doing over here, and we'll catch you on the next one.